Alrighty, we are back. Falcons, Bills going to break into the defense. A lot of overwhelmingly good to show, but we unfortunately got to start with a bit of bad here. Bills open up, able to hit this deep shot due to some miscommunication and what I would identify as quarters coverage. My diagnosis is that Watts is in the wrong here, as well as just being good design by the Bills. We'll talk about it, but overall in this game, obviously we're going to get into it. The defense played great. I just had a couple hiccups that stopped us from being a total shutout. So we'll start with those, but we'll get into the good stuff really quick. So on this one, like I said, we're going to see quarters coverage. The Bills' motion here, you're going to see Xavier Watts and Mike Hughes communicating. And so when I talk about quarters coverage and why I think this is a misplay, so quarters, each player is responsible for their kind of vertical here, their vertical zone. So you break up the four sections of the field into four deep zones. That's why it's called cover four or quarters. The issue that we're going to see here is, typically speaking, if you are the quarters safety and you don't get a vertical threat to your zone. So to diagnose this, right, if this player takes an inside vertical, Xavier Watts would be following him. You'll see Mike Hughes here as the outside corner. He's playing his deep zone, so he's responsible for this outside go. So since this number 2 isn't going to get vertical, I think he comes up here and runs like a little hitch route or whatever. Technique-wise, what you like to see is this safety takes the free opportunity, since no one's threatening him deep, to essentially double this outside receiver to avoid exactly what happens here, which is basically, since Mike Hughes has no help, the leverage of the receiver basically makes it impossible for him to make a good play if he's not in super sticky coverage. So we'll see at the top right here. So right here, this player comes up here, stops. At this point, Watts should really be kind of turning his hips and looking to get vertical. You'll see Jesse Bates, right? He's going to recognize no one's threatening him vertically, so he's actually going to carry this player as he comes across, which, I think that's proper technique. And we actually have a bit of a coverage bust here with this quarter player not recognizing the tight end. But they don't get there because they have this. So Xavier Watts should really be looking to get vertical and hope Mike Hughes squeeze this, and then this is a non-play. Instead, he's going to come down and he's going to try to hunt this. So he's not playing his assignment properly. So right here, again, if he keeps his hips and he keeps flying back, this play's never going to happen right here. You could argue that obviously this tight end might come open, so he's kind of come down for that. But hey, if the Bills get you, they get you. You don't want to give up a big explosive play like this. So it's an unfortunate mistake from a rookie who I think has been playing really well and even made some great plays in this one. It's also good design by the Bills, right? This is the intent of the play. If that quarter safety cheats down on the crosser, we have an opportunity to hit a big post play. And that's what they do. So, hats off to the Bills with a good play call. They get what they want from us defensively, and we don't execute the way we need to. All right, next thing, we're going to see Caden Ellis blow up this run play. The guard just does a terrible job taking an angle at him. He forces the cut back, and due to the good leverage of Sam Roberts on the center, who was trying to seal him, so the center sort of does what he wants, but overall probably gets pushed back a little bit more than he'd like. And it just makes James Cook have to cut back to where our linebackers are. Their fullback type, 41, also ends up missing a block. So overall, it's pretty good by us. So the gist of this one right here is 76 is just going to take one step to inside and opposed to meet him head on. Caden Ellis is just going to go right around him. And then Sam Roberts here. The center is trying to get this seal on him, which is what happens. But Roberts gets enough push into the backfield that since James Cook is forced to push this, cut this back, he also has to cut back again because you see Zach Harrison also getting that horizontal push. So right here, obviously, Caden Ellis fills this hole. So at this point, James Cook would like to try to hit this backside. But Zach Harrison's getting pushed. Roberts is in the way, so he's going to take it all the way horizontal. We miss it, we barely miss some tackles, and then Divine Diablo is able to get around 41 and make a good tackle. So, again, wanted to mostly highlight this one because I think Sam Roberts had a really nice game, and I don't think that's something a lot of Falcons fans would expect. In fact, I would wager most Falcons fans didn't even know his name. But he certainly came in and had a great game, so I just wanted to highlight some of his play. And obviously, Caden Ellis had a fantastic, not just game, but really season so far. All right, next one here. We're going to have really good design, beating really good play by Onyemata and Divine Diablo. The Falcons are going to be, coming up with this sim pressure with Caden Ellis and Divine Diablo. So sim pressure, it's simulated pressure, right? You pretend you're going to send more than you're going to send, and you drop out of it. So despite showing potentially sending 6, we actually only send 3. Divine Diablo takes that first step to engage the guard and guard and center, and then he bails out. So it ends up leaving us with 3 one-on-ones, AK on their tackle, Onyemata on their guard, and then Zach Harrison also on their tackle. So design-wise, it works out really well for us because, again, you get 3 one-on-one blocks on a play you're sending 3. That's about as good as it's ever going to get. And then Divine Diablo, using his athleticism, his speed, he's able to sim this, get back, turn his hips, and keep pace with Josh Allen. So right up here at the snap, you're seeing them creeping up. So right here, Divine Diablo is going to take this initial step forward, and the goal with this step is to engage kind of the double team right here. Once that's engaged, at that point, we have our island blocks. And so once he engages it, he's going to bail out. And the coverage is obviously very sticky. Like, we're going to watch it right here. So, top of his drop, what does Josh Allen really have, right? This isn't there. Hey, guess what? We have Caden Ellis. He's hunting this crosser. This crosser isn't going to be there. Over here, we have this deep player and we have this flat player. So there's nothing Josh really wants over here. Covered on the deep end. Divine Diablo. He's tracking. He's going to get his head back around. And from this angle, if I told you Josh Allen took that up the sideline, you'd probably believe me. But Divine Diablo, using his speed, is able to get all the way back, keep pace with him, limit this to, a 3 or 4 yard gain versus what could have been, a 10-yard gain to set up a more easy, third down for the Bills. So again, design-wise, big fan of it. Play-wise, big fan of it. It's awesome. I really enjoy it. Josh Allen, obviously, maybe he could have tried to throw someone to the left, but we also had Onyemata get in the pressure. And when your coverage, blitz, sim pressures, and your actual base can all work in conjunction, this is what happens, right? If he had no pressure whatsoever there, maybe he does get backside and find something. But since we had the pressure from Onyemata and we had the design that allowed us to get the one-on-one block, and then we have the linebacker to get out there in space and catch Josh Allen, it's the recipe for a masterclass defensive performance from the Falcons. All right, like I said, unfortunately, there's a bit of negative plays early, and we've had some good ones too. Right here, we're going to see Jesse Bates. He's playing the role he's assigned, right? He's up here. He's in this kind of robber role. He just, gets moved by Josh Allen's eyes. He's not necessarily, tracking the receiver. He's just trying to read the quarterback's eyes, which is how he gets some of those interceptions, right? But right here, it basically creates this zone that he's supposed to occupy and take away the throwing window because he moves. So Josh Allen obviously does a good job getting to this. Yeah, it's a good job from the Bills, being able to execute, kind of take advantage of some of what I would call Jesse Bates' tendencies. So, right here, the Falcons are playing cover 3. So your outside corners are, taking care of those two thirds of the field, and then the safety is going to come middle of the field. And what they're doing is they're going to try to move Jesse Bates, kind of this middle of the field robber role, and his job there is to catch any crossers. So what the Bills are going to do is just take this with more depth and kind of hit this in really the second window. So Jesse Bates, his movement down takes away the first window for sure. But since he's not there for the second window back here by the end zone, Josh Allen's able to get to it. He moves him with his eyes, right? So Jesse Bates is reading his eyes. All right, you can see he's looking over here. He's like, okay, I might have someone come in the middle of the field. He's reading Josh Allen right here, looking at him. All right, I want to get in front of this. Maybe he thinks this is breaking right across. But again, they take it vertical, and at this point, if Jesse Bates is more in his zone right about here, then I'm sure this throw isn't there. We don't really have immediate pressure on Josh. Obviously, we have a late win from this player, but by all accounts, I'm sure Josh Allen would have got to his next read and thrown a check down or whatever. But overall, just the Bills taking advantage of some of Jesse Bates' tendencies, which is certainly to come down, try to jump routes, get big plays. Certainly one of the best safeties in the league, but overall, he still has his tendencies that the best offenses are going to take advantage of. So the Bills get you. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, I can say this is one of the only times they get us. So we're going to start getting into the fun stuff now. But shout out to the Bills for getting a touchdown on opening drives. But outside of that, we shut their asses down. And next one here, we're going to see Divine Diablo, using the technique that you get taught as a linebacker. When you are in kind of this robot technique where you're chasing somebody who's already behind you and you're going to watch their hands. As soon as their hands start going up to make the catch, you're going to get your hands up. Same thing we teach corners, right? This is the best way to do it when you're in pursuit. Get your hands up there. Even if you can't make a play on the ball, you might be able to get a deflection. It's exactly what happens here. It's fantastic from him. And really, again, just another highlight of his athleticism, right? The speed that he's playing with right now. And also, we're going to end up getting a nice win from Onyemata. So, play action for the Bills, right? They're coming up here faking it. It's going to suck up both Caden Ellis and Divine Diablo. And you're going to see Divine Diablo, kind of immediately turn, and he's hunting for whoever is attacking the space he's supposed to occupy. This is exactly what you want to see. You can see Caden Ellis is doing the same thing. He's looking for anybody kind of coming over the middle. Pass pro up front for Josh is pretty good up until here where Onyemata is finally winning. But at this point, he's in position to make the throw. But Divine Diablo, great technique following it. Get the hands up, get the deflection, prevent a big play, prevent a first down. It's awesome. Again, this is just technique, right? We always see these highlights where the player's in pursuit and the quarterback zips it right over their shoulder, and they're like, oh man, why do they even do this? This is why. Because when you're in pursuit, if you're watching the hands, get your hands up, you get a little bit lucky here, right? There's no way Divine Diablo doesn't know where the freaking ball is, right? This is a little bit of luck, but it's also good technique, and this is why we teach it. It gets a deflection. Great play by him, especially recovering with the speed he did to even get there to make the play. So that's awesome. All right, next thing we're going to see Caden Ellis on a run blitz. James Pierce is going to crash down here, and obviously this is just a perfect call for what the Bills have. So this is, a great call by the defensive coaching staff. Caden Ellis obviously has been, used very well, I think, since his time here. But right here, this is kind of a gotcha call, right? We're going to crash inside with James Pierce. So when I say that, so James Pierce is supposed to now fill this gap because traditionally the linebacker is kind of supposed to come here and the edge is supposed to keep contained. We're mixing it up here. We're going to get across, and then our goal is to send Caden Ellis on the run blitz to get in here. Other underrated thing about this play, we just went really hard here with Onyemata, and it kind of lets this whole thing roll. So we'll do it slow right here. You can see this gap's open. The guard, wants to get out to Caden Ellis here, but he's not fast enough. At this point, the play's forced back inside, which again, if Onyemata wasn't winning in the way he was, then maybe he's able to get more vertical. But he's not because Onyemata's winning, and we get a tackle for virtually no gain. Again, really nice game from Onyemata and a really good, call here, just catching the Bills and exactly what we think they're going to do with the perfect play call defensively. And next thing, we're just going to highlight A.J. Terrell going against Bargain Bin, Drake London. Keon Coleman not able to make the play. A.J. Terrell locked him up super hard all game. He had no chance to, get the Bills offense going as their, primary receiving threat this game. Because A.J. Terrell was matched up with him all night, and he did a fantastic job. I think there were 2 holding penalties or something, but, whatever. You don't want to let the wide receiver, get you scared with holding penalties because then it lets them complete balls like this. So, again, coverage-wise, these players are responsible for the vertical matching of these inside receivers, and then you're going to see, Hughes kind of plays this off technique. But what really matters is that for A.J. Terrell, it's essentially man with, his middle of the field safety help. And he just locks him up. He's not afraid to get physical with him, right? You don't want to let him set the terms, right? You don't want to let their wide receiver be the one to decide when they're going to get physical and when they're not. He was hand-fighting with him all night, rising up to the challenge. I think it truly does help that he plays against a better version of Keon Coleman and Drake London every single game. It's great having this guy back. I like the pose. It's a fantastic play from a fantastic player. All right, next one here, we're going to see Jalen Walker and Divine Diablo combined to, stretch this play out and make it go for really no gain. Jalen Walker does a fantastic job setting the edge against the tight end. He gets that initial kind of double team from the tackle, but off the snap, he gets some pushback. He's able to keep this horizontal, keep James Cook having to run towards the sideline. That allowed Divine Diablo to be a rocket out of hell, man. So Jalen Walker coming up here, engaging this guy, giving that initial pushback, and you get this double team onto Jalen Walker. But Divine Diablo, they're trying to get their center out over here in front of him, and there's just no chance. There's no chance. Divine Diablo is far too quick for this. Jalen Walker stretching it horizontally right. You're also going to see D. Alford in kind of pretty good position to kind of help fill this if he has to. You can see he's in good position. He's able to slow up, but don't let the guard, get hands on you because that's going to blow you up out of the play. So I really like how D. Alford plays this too. And at this point, it's stretched horizontally. Jalen Walker does a great job, forcing him out. So fantastic play from the rookie, and then Divine Diablo just continuing his awesome season. All right, next one here, we're going to see Josh Allen and the Bills hunting this wheel route to James Cook. Caden Ellis does a fantastic job getting on top of it, fighting through the attempted rub route. And then Josh Allen, gets a lot of pushback in his face from Leonard Floyd. And then also Jalen Walker ends up flashing inside. And what you're going to see is Onyemata is able to kind of get this initial grab on him, and then Rook's able to retrace his rushing lanes and get this sack, which is an issue for the Falcons pass rushers. They have not done a great job in a long time of retracing their pass rush lanes. And what do I mean by that? Basically, as they come upfield, and if they're washed out of the play right, they don't have an angle on the quarterback, you kind of want to fall back into the path you left, and that allows you to kind of make a play on the quarterback, as needed. So off the rip here, you can see Josh Allen's going to come looking right at James Cook, and they're attempting to get this rub route with these two players onto Caden Ellis. So he's coming up here kind of running this, slant. The whole point of this is just to catch up Caden Ellis and create this big window for James Cook to catch this wheel route. But doesn't like it, turns it down. At this point, Leonard Floyd is in his face. You see Jalen Walker coming up. We'll watch it more from the end zone angle. He looks to scramble. He could have probably thrown it to 10, but we're in position to drive down on 10 as well from Mike Hughes. So pressure, this is what it does to a quarterback. It gets them flustered. So off the rip, Jalen Walker is going to take this outside move, come inside. We're going to see Leonard Floyd just with the straight up bull rush, get him all the way back into his face. And then Onyemata is going to kind of work across and then peel back. So right here, Jalen Walker get across. Long arm. Love this technique, man. Long arm into his chest, get inside. That is fantastic, man. Look at that. That's awesome from Jalen Walker, man. Leonard Floyd obviously gets the main pressure right there. You can see him. We don't get the sack right here on Josh Allen, but you can see we're in position here. We're in position. And Onyemata critically doesn't fall. So since he doesn't fall, he's able to get a hand on him, slow him down, and then Rook doesn't give up on the play, gets the sack. Again, fantastic job from Jalen Walker. I actually love that pass rush rep the more I looked at it. Again, that one long arm, one arm is longer than two, man. It's a great, great play. All right, there's a lot to get into on this one, so buckle up. The Falcons are going to be going against the Bills here. Bills are running mesh rail. The Falcons are going to be sending Divine Diablo and D. Alfred on a blitz, and they're going to widen that gap that they're coming in through on the blitz by James Pierce taking a wide angle on his pass rush snap, and then Jalen Walker, the other rookie, so both rookies here are a big part of this. Jalen Walker's going to crash in hard on the guard and help widen this gap, and from there, Josh Allen's pretty toast. What I like about this in particular is how they match the rail routes. You're actually going to see Arnold Ebiketie, of all people, peel off. So we'll draw up what the Bills are trying to run here. So mesh rail, I've done some videos on it before. The Falcons have run it. A lot of teams run it. Essentially, it's really good versus man coverage. They have this kind of flare-out, check-down route once his player. So this corner, D. Alfred is responsible for this player. So once D. Alfred comes on the blitz, this player is trying to play hot and basically let Josh Allen know I'm open, throw it to me. And then the rail route is going to be right here by the running back. And the Falcons are going to match that by sending Arnold Ebiketie and having him peel off to match it. It's too much drawing going on. So Falcons are going to peel off to match the rail route, and then you're going to see Caden Ellis going up here on the initial pressure and then bail out. And that's actually going to take away this initial mesh window as well. So again, design-wise, back end, we'll play the first 3 seconds of it. So right here, this mesh window initially, it's taken away. You can see the rail here, not really there. Obviously, this player coming over the middle isn't open yet. So D. Alfred is coming down here on the blitz. You get Divine Diablo coming as well. Josh Allen, though, he opens to his right. So since he opens to his right, there's no way for him to know this player is wide open. If he opens to his left, he probably makes this throw, but he doesn't. So we get him there. He's come backside. At this point, he has nothing he can do, and we get an awesome sack. So we'll look at it from the front end. Or I'm sorry, from the end zone angle, and we're going to talk about what Jalen Walker and James Pierce do here. That's really fun. So Jalen Walker, off the snap, you're going to see his goal, shoot inside, because we want to get this player here. We want to create this massive gap. James Pierce, get to the edge. We want to get this tackle out in space, and what that allows us to do is have this massive gap for Divine Diablo and D. Alfred to come in and headhunt Josh Allen. So right here, you can see it's working exactly as planned. The tackle's engaged, so he can't come off to get D. Alfred. The guard is engaged. So at this point, it's cooked. We got Josh Allen right where we want him. It's a fantastic play call. A lot going on with that one, guys. A lot. But it was awesome. I'm glad I got to see it. Shout out D. Alfred for having a great game. And design-wise, obviously Jeff Ulbrich doing a great job. Our next thing, we're going to see Roberts and Xavier Watts come together to make a really nice play. Leonard Floyd also does a great job just making the tight end miss in space. It kind of opens up the outside edge, but that's why Xavier Watts triggering downhill so quickly helps clean this up. But Roberts just gets a lot of initial pushback on the center. It kind of slows James Cook down. And since he's slowed down, he's unable to hit this kind of gap at full speed. And due to that, it gives Xavier Watts time to come down and trigger and get that initial tackle. So you're going to see just a lot of pushback from Roberts here. Onyemata getting double teamed, and then they're going to try to hit Leonard Floyd here with this tight end, and he just gets right around him. And then obviously they're occupying with Divine Diablo with this tight end as well. So Xavier Watts, what you're going to see is right here. All right, he's triggered now. He's like, I need to get downhill and fill this. So the speed with which he does is what I think is impressive. Again, he kind of watches this angle, knows I need to maybe come over here if it breaks out. right here, able to make a tackle in space as a safety coming downhill in the run game. That's a great play by a young player in a defense that right now is full of good young players. All right, next one here, we're going to see really sticky coverage with cover one man. The Falcons do an awesome job matching up here. They're also doing a bit of a sim pressure. They have Divine Diablo as the spy on Josh Allen, who he actually gets a little bit mispositioned here. But overall, Caden Ellis is able to kind of fill in and able to stop Josh Allen short of the sticks to bring up a fourth down. So pass rush wise, we don't do a ton here, but I really just wanted to highlight the coverage because I think the coverage is really sticky everywhere. We kind of match the running back with Arnold Ebiketie here. James Cook isn't really running a threatening route. So it's not a huge issue. It's just an easy way to occupy him. Obviously, get some interior matchups that you maybe like with Caden Ellis. But so coverage wise, again, just want to highlight we absolutely lock these guys up. Just no chance whatsoever across the board, and that's what allows this play to be what it is. So again, nowhere to go with the football. Josh Allen's he's looking, he's trying to direct people. Still no chance. Right here, now he's kind of in scramble mode. You can see Caden Ellis going full speed trying to stop him. Josh Allen makes a late play to try to make a pass, and then Caden Ellis is able to still stalk him short of the stick. So, again, awesome coverage job. Pass rush obviously doesn't really get home here in the way that you'd necessarily love. I think Jalen Walker has a pretty okay rep here, getting some pushback, kind of keeping outside contain on Josh for a little bit there, but then he just kind of gets fooled at the last second. So, again, not a terrible rep from Walker, but he's got to learn, don't buy too much on the pump fake. But obviously, again, we stop him short of the sticks, and it brings up a fourth down. Right next in here, Falcons are going to be sitting Caden Ellis on a blitz and playing 3 over 300 defense on the back end. I really just want to highlight Caden Ellis. The defensive coverage is a little bit funky just because the Bills' passing strength is to the left. But, I would still call this, a 3 over 300 defense. Just ends up looking a little bit funky due to all the moving parts from the Bills' offense. But Caden Ellis is really the star of this one. So you're going to see him coming up. Running back's going to come up to meet him. And then the running back's going to promptly get blown up into Josh Allen's face. I also think Brandon Dorlus does a pretty good job getting some pressure on the interior, not just getting locked up. And then, you're going to have a double team right here, so there's not a ton he can do. Coverage-wise, like I said, 3 over 300 defense. So you're going to have 3 deep zone players. And then you're going to kind of have a weird spot drop. So it's not really the traditional look you get where you get both these players fitting out to the flat. That's not really what we're going to get. What we're really going to get is to the flat. And then you're going to have Diablo ends up playing kind of this backside middle hook. Because at this point, there's no one over here. And then, you're also going to have, this player coming up and filling the zone. So it looks a little bit funky. But what really matters is up front, Caden Ellis is blowing him up. And Josh Allen at this point certainly seemed a little bit shook to me from the pass rush. And isn't that awesome to say? Again, Caden Ellis on the running back, throws him back. Josh Allen has an okay pocket to make this throw from, but just absolutely skunks it. No shot whatsoever from the mesh player. He could have got his head around earlier, but even then, based off that throw, I don't think Josh Allen was going to complete it. So, great play from the defense. Caden Ellis, again, just being a monster as a blitzer. Next one here, D. Alford, massive interception right before the half. Does a great job getting in front of this route. Catching the ball, that's always the hardest part to do as a defensive back sometimes. And then up front, Zach Harrison and Jalen Walker get some good pressure. So we'll talk about the coverage. To me, this plays out like quarters. And, D. Alford as the nickel is going to carry the inside vertical, and then he has that safety help over the top. You want to cover receivers, not grass. The days of true zone are pretty dead. Nowadays, it's all a zone match. And it's been that way for, a long time. So quarters coverage, right? Outside corners are playing their quarter of the field. Safeties are playing their quarter of the field, and then the nickel is going to match the number 2 vertical if he gets there. And the goal of that is basically you have kind of a miniature bracket on this player if he keeps going deep. And then you're also going to see Jesse Bates actually as he gets deep, he notices nobody threatening his zone, so he kind of comes down a little bit. And then Caden Ellis is going to peel off, as is often the case with the running back, and match him in the flats. We'll get into the pass rush here a little bit, but right here, Josh Allen doesn't like this matchup with good reason. AJ's all over it. So instead he gets backside, wants to throw it to 10, and D. Alford just does a fantastic job driving up the ball. It's an awesome play from him. Let's go ahead and look at it from the end zone angle so we can talk about Jalen Walker and Zach Harrison. So Jalen Walker is going to get in here, and then he's going to work back across. Zach Harrison is just going to get some really good push into Josh Allen's face. You can see it. Again, Jalen Walker getting inside, right in his face. Josh Allen has to rush the throw. You rush the throw over the middle. You don't necessarily notice D. Alford ready to hawk that thing and get the interception before half. And obviously, we did not score points off this, but in terms of the Falcons, I mean, in terms of the defense, I mean, that's a fantastic play from D. Alford as the nickel. Our next one here, we're going to get an Onyemata sack on Josh Allen because the coverage back end is really good. You're going to see A.J. Terrell locking up this deep out. Josh Allen trying to get backside. At that point, the pressure's already on him, and he has no chance whatsoever to make this throw. And really, it kind of starts with the coverage because, again, he's going to open trying to throw at A.J. and turns it down. At that point, Onyemata's already in his face, and we get a sack. It's very, very nice. What does happen, though, is obviously they're sending 5 here. What does happen is the coverage bust. Jesse Bates is kind of responsible for this running back, or really whoever the number 3 receiver is that releases at the flats. But they kind of engage here with Caden Ellis and then release, and the running back stays in the block. And due to this, Jesse Bates is just late noticing, though he eventually gets back towards the flat to cover the tight end. So man coverage here, man coverage here, man coverage here with safety help over the top. And you kind of have your 2 middle field players, or your kind of middle drop player that's spying Josh Allen. So right here, again, you can see this is where they release that tight end to the flat, and Jesse Bates is like, oh, shit, I need to go match him. But at this point, the pressure's already there. Let's see if we can rewind a little bit to where Josh wants to throw this at AJ. So right here, he wants to throw with anticipation at AJ, but AJ is ready to drive down on this thing. He does not like it with good reason because you also have kind of this underneath player, so it's just a tight window. Turns it down. At this point, sack pressure is on him. Onyemata cleans him up. We'll watch it from the end zone angle. So Zach Harris ends up coming inside, and it creates this late angle for Onyemata just to work right back across. And it's a great play by him. It's good recognition of the angle of the pass rush. Might be by design. I don't think it's a design stunt. It might have been. But either way, it worked out for the Falcons. All right, next thing here, we're going to have a backside blitz from A.J. Terrell. Josh Allen's going to roll left, try to do Josh Allen stuff, but he is not able to. Again, I just think we had him kind of shook. He was feeling the pressure. He feel like he had to get everything off quickly, so he doesn't really set up his throw here in the way I think he would usually. Works out for us. I also think Jalen Walker does the right thing, which is basically just decide what you're going to do. Don't try to tweener the coverage. If you're going to come downhill, come downhill. If you're going to be in coverage, be in coverage. You don't want to do neither of them, right? You want to take away at least one option. So, backside, AJ, blind side. Josh Allen doesn't see him till kind of the top of his drop, but then he glances, notices him. He's going to try to roll out here, and at this point, Jalen Walker is engaged downhill, which is what you should do. Josh Allen, I don't know why he did this. If he's running normally, I imagine he twists his hips, tries to get the throw off, tries to feed it over Jalen Walker's head. You also are going to see Xavier Watts getting over here kind of late, trying to make a play on this thing. So if he had floated it a little bit more, probably get an interception. At the very least, we get our hands on it, and we are able to kind of break it up from him. So here's the end zone angle. Again, Josh Allen, just blindside blitz, right? We haven't really sent A.J. Terrell like that. So just send another thing at him. He's lucky he notices it late. He's trying to come over the middle, so it kind of rushes him through it, and then he gets rolling right. Jalen Walker forces the toss, and again, just not enough from Josh Allen there. But it's a great job from the Falcons. Again, just in and of itself, do I think Josh Allen usually makes this play? Yes. When you attack Josh Allen the way you have all night, this is what happens, right? Consistent pressure shakes quarterbacks up, and when they can't get in a rhythm, they just make bad decisions after bad decision. Our next thing, we're going to get that 3 over 300 defense. Again, sending 5. Sam Roberts is able to kind of peel off here and tackle Josh Allen for a gain of 1 yard or so. Great play by him on a night he had a lot of great plays. So defensively, though, the coverage-wise, we're just kind of draw it up so we have a better angle on, what I was talking about earlier, because, we had the weird alignment issues talking about that 3 over 300 defense. So right here, plays out a lot more traditionally, right? Outside corners, pretty obvious, right? You have kind of your flat players, and then you're going to have your middle player, and he is going to relate to the third receiver. So in that case, it's this tight end. So if the tight end goes vertical, you're going to match him, right? If the tight end goes to inside, you would also match him. So Divine Diablo does a really good job kind of locking this player up. You'll see AJ here. Again, this kind of late switch, right? But at this point, AJ's locked into this player, right? Because he was the outside release. Even if he works inside, you want to match him in man. That way, you're not in a weird position here. Josh Allen certainly probably could have thrown this, but, he's looking to get vertical with his legs, so there's a lot of open field. Doesn't happen because we get the tackle. That's a great job from us because Josh Allen so often makes that play. So yeah, it's an awesome job from Roberts here. You can kind of see this pressure. You'll see Onyemata again got that initial pressure, and then Roberts is able to kind of peel off and tackle Josh for a minimal gain. All right, next one here, we have a screen design by the Bills. We're going to absolutely blow it up, sending Divine Diablo, and then also Roberts just does a really good job staying horizontal, forcing this, and AK, is able to feed back inside and make a play. So, for the Bills, what you're going to see is this motion. These three receivers just kind of running clearouts to occupy the secondary players. They're going to fade over here, and the goal for the tackles and guards is kind of engage, and then release them, and get upfield. But we do a really good job from Roberts kind of recognizing this. So at this alignment, he's like, okay, I need to stop. I need to get over. AK, taking away the edge, right? Take away the edge. So when he makes this throw, he has to go inside where you have help. So it's a good job by AK right here, working back inside. Roberts able to keep this, line of scrimmage at this ref, right? So if that's the line of scrimmage, we're pretty horizontal, right? They haven't got a ton of push on us, right? So we are able to come up here and keep them horizontal, make this a minimal to no gain. Sam Roberts, again, we'll watch it one more time from this angle. Again, engage. They're trying to seal you inside, all right? Work back across. AK, make the tackle in space. Again, Divine Diablo on the blitz also kind of sped up the process. I'm sure they would have liked to, wait a little bit longer, get those blockers out in space. But overall, it's a great play by Roberts. Jalen Walker with another play. Awesome pass rush rep. We're going to get into it from the end zone angle. Coverage-wise on the back end, we're just playing cover one man. Trusting our corners to hold up like they did all day. And then, it certainly looks like to me that this is just a true blitz from the linebacker and corner. Doesn't matter what their, assignments do. They look like they're coming screaming from hell, trying to sack Josh Allen. Let's get to the end zone angle, though, because I want to talk about Jalen Walker and his pass rush rep. So right here, you're going to see Divine Diablo coming here. Jalen Walker is going to come up, engage on this guard, hit a fucking swim move inside, work through the double team, and be right in Josh Allen's face. That's awesome. So right here, see if we can slow this down just a hair. A little swim move action, right over him, through the tackle help. Man, that's practically a triple team. Divine Diablo is going to occupy the running back, but at this point, look at Jalen Walker. He's all the way in his face. The outside corner, D. Alford kind of gets up here. You also have this other edge pressure. So, that's awesome. Hell, James Pierce had an opportunity to swat the ball on Josh Allen. That was pretty fucking close, was it not? Look at that. That's pretty freaking close. But Jalen Walker, the two rookies, right in Josh Allen's face, forcing a throw that has no chance in hell of being complete. I fucking love it. All right, last one here. Josh Allen throws the interception to D'Angelo Malone with Zach Harrison in his face, able to kind of tip that ball, and we catch the interception to ice it. I'm going to let it kind of play in the background as we talk about the actual game. Awesome win from the defensive, obviously. Offense, obviously, I had some moments too. I don't know if I'll be able to make a video on them this week because I'm kind of busy. But defensively, no denying that this defense is for real at this point. I think the rookies are playing awesome across the field. You had a couple of mistakes from Watts and whatnot, but overall, I think it's hard to sit there and look at what they're doing and be, overly negative about their play. I certainly think Jalen Walker had his best game of the season. He was all up in Josh Allen's face this game. Divine Diablo, Caden Ellis continued great play. Sam Roberts was a surprise to me. I didn't expect him to really get that much playing time, much less look like he did. Onyemata seems to be back in form. There is just a lot to like with this defense. And then obviously I think schematically we really saw, and I certainly hope I did a good job breaking it down for y'all, what we're doing from a coaching perspective defensively that's really setting us up for success, because I think that is a big part of this game. And, shout out to the coaching staff, Raheem, everybody else for coming together. And, coming off the bye especially, it's really encouraging for me to see with that extra week of prep, the coaching staff take full advantage on both sides of the ball. Awesome win. Felt good to send all those Bills fans home, not feeling great. So, fuck yeah, man, let's keep it rolling.